If your phone started predicting tragedies before they happened, would you keep listening? Every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., my phone rings. Not a normal ring, not a call, a voicemail. And it's always from the same number. My number. At first, I thought it was a glitch. Then I thought it was a prank. Now, I know better. Because the messages I get haven't happened yet. And tonight, the voicemail says I die. Let me tell you how this started. 3 weeks ago, I was just a normal guy. Same routine every day. Wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, scroll my phone until I fell asleep. Nothing exciting ever happened to me. I liked it that way. Then one night, everything changed. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I had to be up early the next morning for a presentation. So I went to bed around 11, dead tired. I fell asleep almost instantly, until 3:17 a.m. My phone rang. At first, I ignored it. Who calls at 3 in the morning? Probably a scammer. I rolled over and tried to go back to sleep. Then it rang again, and again. Finally, half awake and annoyed, I grabbed it. The screen said, "Missed call, unknown." But there was a voicemail waiting. I almost deleted it. I wish I had. Because when I pressed play, I heard something that made my stomach drop. It was my voice. Calm, slow, tired. And it said, "Don't forget your umbrella tomorrow. It's gonna rain hard around noon." Then it ended. That was it. No explanation. No hello. Just that sentence. I laughed. Out loud. Okay, I thought. That's creepy. But it had to be a joke. Maybe one of my friends messing with me. Maybe I recorded something in my sleep. I shrugged it off and went back to bed. The next morning, the sky was perfectly clear. Not a cloud in sight. I actually remembered the voicemail and laughed again while making coffee. Nice try, mystery future me, I said. I went to work. Totally forgot about it. Until noon, when the sky turned black, out of nowhere, and rain started pouring so hard, it looked like the world was ending. I got soaked walking to my car. Standing there in the freezing rain, I suddenly remembered the message. Don't forget your umbrella tomorrow. My stomach twisted. Coincidence, right? Had to be. That night, I went to bed uneasy, trying not to think about it, telling myself it was just luck. Then, 3:17 a.m., the phone rang again. This time, I answered immediately. Silence. Then the call ended. A voicemail notification popped up. I didn't want to listen, but I did. It was my voice again. This time, more serious. Leave for work 10 minutes early. There's going to be an accident on 5th Street at 8:42 a.m. You don't want to be there when it happens. Click. Message over. I sat there in the dark, staring at the wall. This wasn't funny anymore. The next morning, I told myself I wasn't going to let some creepy message control my life. But as I got ready for work, I couldn't stop thinking about it. 8:42 a.m. 5th Street. Finally, just to be safe, I left early. Felt stupid doing it, like I was letting a prank win. At 8:40, I was already parked at my office. 2 minutes later, my phone buzzed. News alert. Major car accident on 5th Street. Multiple injuries reported. I almost dropped my coffee. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't coincidence. Someone or something was sending me messages from the future. And somehow, that someone was me. The voicemails kept coming, every night, 3:17 a.m., each one more specific than the last. Don't eat the chicken at lunch tomorrow. Call Mom. She really needs to hear from you. Cancel your date on Friday. And every single time, They were right. I started living my life by them, following instructions like a script. I stopped making decisions on my own. Why would I? The future version of me already knew better. I became obsessed. I started waiting for 3:17 instead of sleeping. Sitting in the dark with my phone in my hands, heart racing, wondering what I'd be told next. I stopped feeling in control of my life. But I also felt safe, like I had a guardian angel, until the message changed. One night, the voicemail didn't give advice. It gave a warning. Don't trust Daniel. Daniel was my best friend. We'd known each other since college. The message gave no details, just that sentence. But 2 days later, I found out he'd been lying to me about something important, something that could have ruined my career. The voicemail was right again. And that's when I realized something terrifying. These messages weren't just predicting the future, they were changing it. I started pulling away from everyone. How could I trust anyone when my future self clearly didn't? I stopped going out, stopped answering calls, stopped living. All I did was wait for the next message. Until last night, 3:17 a.m., right on schedule. But this time, the voicemail was different. My voice sounded afraid, shaking, out of breath. And it said this: listen to me carefully. Do not leave your apartment tomorrow. Lock the doors, close the blinds. At 6:14 p.m., someone is going to knock. Do not answer. If you do, you die. Then, after a long pause, I'm sorry. So here I am. It's 5:58 p.m. I've been sitting on my couch all day, doors locked, blinds closed, phone in my hand, watching the clock, listening to every sound in the hallway, wondering what kind of life this is, wondering how it ends. 6:13 p.m. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it. 6:14. Right on time. There's a knock. 3 slow taps. I don't move. Another knock. Louder. My phone buzzes. A new voicemail. But it's not 3:17. It's happening now. With shaking hands, I press play, and I hear my own voice say, "Open the door. It's the only way this stops." I freeze, confused, terrified. The knocking continues. Finally, against every instinct, I stand up, walk to the door, and open it. No one is there, just a package on the floor, with my name on it. Inside is a brand new phone, already powered on, and on the screen, a single audio file, dated, "Tomorrow I don't listen to the voicemails anymore. I don't wait for 3:17. Because I finally understood something. The messages weren't saving me. They were trapping me, turning me into someone afraid to live without instructions, afraid to make mistakes, afraid to be human. The future isn't something you're supposed to know. It's something you're supposed to face. And maybe that's the real lesson in all of this. Sometimes, the scariest voice you'll ever hear is your own. I've lived in this apartment for 3 years. There has never been a door in my bedroom wall. Until I woke up tonight, and it was already open. At exactly 12 a.m., a door appears in my hallway. Not creaks open, not unlocks. Appears. It isn't there at 11:59. It's gone again by morning. No hinges in the wall, no frame marks, no dust disturbed. Just a door where there was empty paint before. The first time I saw it, I thought I was dreaming. The second time, I filmed it. The third time, it whispered my name. And that's when I realized something far worse than a haunted apartment. The door wasn't showing up by accident. It was waiting. I moved into the building because it was cheap. That should have been the first warning. The landlord wouldn't meet me in person. The lease was emailed as scanned photos. The building had no name, just a number scratched into the concrete outside. The hallway lights flickered constantly, like they were tired of existing. But the apartment itself was normal. Too normal. White walls, laminate floors, a narrow hallway connecting the bedroom to the kitchen. No extra doors, just one bathroom door, one bedroom door. I checked. I always check. Because I've lived long enough to know something about life. If something feels incomplete, it usually is. I woke up at 11:58 p.m. No alarm, no noise. Just that feeling, like someone had gently shaken my soul awake. I checked my phone. 11:59. Then I heard it. A sound like pressure equalizing, like air being displaced in a sealed room. I sat up. At 12 a.m., the hallway light flickered, and the door was there. Dark wood, old brass handle, no peephole. It didn't match the apartment. It didn't belong. I stared at it for a full minute, convinced my brain was misfiring. Then I did something stupid. I stood up. The floorboards creaked. The door did not move. I reached out. Before my hand touched the handle, my phone buzzed. 12:01 a.m. The light flickered again. The door was gone. Spent the next day tearing the apartment apart. Tapped the walls, measured distances, checked blueprints online. There was no space for an extra room, no maintenance access, no sealed doorway. That night, I set up my phone on a tripod. At 11:58, nothing. At 11:59, the hallway light dimmed. At 12 o'clock, the video glitches, not freezes, glitches. Static floods the screen for exactly 4 seconds. When the image returns, the door is there, standing exactly where it shouldn't be. I didn't sleep after that, because doors don't glitch cameras. Night 3, I didn't record this time. I watched. At midnight, the door appeared as usual, but something was different. The handle was turning, slowly, like whatever was on the other side wanted me to notice. I backed away. That's when I heard it. A voice, not loud, not threatening, just close. So close it felt like it was inside my skull. It said my name, not the full version, the shortened one my mother used when I was a child. No one here knew that name. The handle stopped turning. The door cracked open, and something stepped out. It looked like me, but unfinished. Its face lagged behind its movements, like reality was buffering. Its eyes were wrong, not empty, but too full, like they were holding memories that didn't belong to them. It smiled, and when it spoke, its mouth didn't move at the same time as the words. "I'm so tired of waiting," it said. I couldn't breathe. "I've been knocking every night," it continued. "You just never answered." I realized then, the door wasn't new. It had always been there. I just hadn't been awake enough to see it. The thing took a step toward me, and suddenly I understood what it was. It wasn't a monster. It was a replacement. The thing explained without explaining. In flashes, images slammed into my head. People like me, tired, lonely, half asleep through life. Doors appearing, voices whispering. Some opened them willingly, some didn't notice. But every time the door opens, something trades places. It lives your life better than you ever did. More confident, more present. And you? You go where the door leads, a place that looks like home, until you realize it isn't. The thing smiled again. "Your life fits me better," it said, "and you look like you need the rest." It reached for the door behind it, leaving it open, inviting. I don't remember screaming. I remember slamming the hallway light switch. The bulb burst. Darkness swallowed everything. When the emergency light flickered on, the door was gone. The thing was gone. But my hallway felt wider, like something had moved out or made space. It's been months. The door still appears every night at midnight, locked, waiting. I don't sleep through it anymore, because I learned something important. Some doors don't lead to monsters. They lead to versions of yourself that are ready to live the life you keep postponing. And if you're not careful, one night they stop knocking and just walk out. There's a rule everyone who works around the dead eventually learns. If something feels wrong, don't question it. Leave. But no one tells you that rule on your first day. They just hand you a badge, a clipboard, and keys to a building where time seems to rot. I worked the night shift at a morgue for 8 months. 8 months of silence. 8 months of fluorescent lights buzzing like trapped insects. 8 months of convincing myself that the dead were harmless. Until the night one of them started changing positions every time the lights flickered. Until I realized the body on table 6 had been officially dead for 3 days and was still warm. I took the job because it paid better than most overnight work, and because grief makes you reckless. After my divorce, I couldn't sleep. The apartment echoed too much. Every sound reminded me I was alone. The morgue didn't echo. It absorbed sound. St. Bartholomew's County Morgue sat 2 floors underground, sealed behind reinforced doors and outdated security systems that hadn't been updated since the late 90s. The air was always cold, always stale, thick with disinfectant, and something faintly metallic that never quite went away. The night shift ran from midnight to 8 a.m. No visitors, no families, no doctors, just me and the bodies. That particular night started like any other. I clocked in at 11:58 p.m., signed my name on the log, poured burnt coffee into a chipped mug. 6 bodies were listed, 5 sealed in drawers, 1 assigned to table 6, John Doe, male, estimated mid-30s, found unresponsive in an abandoned subway tunnel. Cause of death, undetermined. That alone was unusual. Most bodies came with a clear explanation: overdose, trauma, cardiac arrest. Undetermined meant no visible injuries, no toxins detected, and no clear reason the heart stopped. But what bothered me most was the temperature reading. I leaned over the table and pressed the digital sensor. 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit normal human body temperature. I frowned. Sometimes machines malfunction, sensors fail, batteries die. Still, protocol required documentation. I wrote it down. As I did, the overhead lights flickered. Just once. When they steadied, something felt off. I looked back at the body. His head was turned slightly to the left. I was certain it hadn't been before. I stared longer than necessary, heart beating faster than it should. Dead bodies shift sometimes, I told myself. Muscle relaxation, gravity, imagination. I gently repositioned his head. His skin was warm, not room temperature, warm. At 12:17 a.m., I logged a note. Possible equipment malfunction, recheck. At 12:43 a.m., the lights flickered again, longer this time. When they came back on, the man's right arm was bent at the elbow, palm facing upward, like he was asking a question. My throat went dry. I checked the vents. No airflow, no pressure changes. I checked the floor. No vibrations. I told myself I'd imagined it. That was when I noticed something else. The toe tag. The ink looked fresher than before. I leaned closer. My handwriting. My stomach dropped. I pulled the clipboard toward me and flipped through the logs. The original entry, 3 days ago, was gone. Erased. Replaced by a clean, new page. Signed by me. Time-stamped 12:41 a.m. I hadn't written that. At 1:02 a.m., I tried calling my supervisor, straight to voicemail. At 1:08 a.m., the intercom crackled, then went silent. At 1:11 a.m., I heard something behind me. Not footsteps, not breathing. Something wet, slow, dragging. I turned. The body's left leg had shifted off the table. His heel rested on the tile floor. I backed away, heart pounding so hard it hurt. "This isn't real," I whispered. The lights went out. Total darkness. No emergency glow, no backup lighting. In the blackness, something exhaled. Close. Too close. I felt warmth near my neck. Then a whisper. I'm trying not to move. The lights snapped back on. The body lay flat again, perfectly still. But now, his lips were slightly parted. I decided to leave. I ran for the exit and slammed into locked doors. The electronic lock flashed red. Access denied. The emergency phone was dead. That's when I noticed the storage drawers. All 5 were open, just an inch. Inside each one, the bodies had turned their faces toward table 6, toward him. I felt something deep in my chest tighten, like pressure, like hands pushing inward. The lights flickered violently, and this time the man sat up. Bones cracked softly as he moved, like joints unused for too long. His eyes opened, clouded, unfocused, but aware. They locked onto me. "You're late," he said. His voice sounded wrong. Not dead, not alive, tired, like someone who'd been waiting for years. I started. "The lights make it hard," he continued. "Every time they flicker, I remember." He swung his legs off the table. Wet footprints followed him as he stood. The room grew colder. The digital clocks froze. "I died here," he said, again and again. "What are you?" I whispered. He smiled faintly. "A placeholder." He explained slowly, between flickers of light. The morgue wasn't just a place to store the dead. It was a threshold. Most bodies passed through. Some didn't. "Sometimes," he said, stepping closer, "someone arrives who isn't finished." Finished with what? I didn't ask. I already knew. He stopped inches from me. "I need rest," he said. "And you're warm." The other drawers slammed shut. The lights went out again. I felt pressure in my chest, stronger now, crushing. My knees buckled. I fell. When I woke up, I was cold. Metal beneath my back. My arms wouldn't move. I looked down. A toe tag swung gently. Across the room, the man zipped himself into a drawer. Before it closed, he looked at me. 3 days, he said softly. That's how long it takes to forget. The drawer shut. Darkness swallowed me. I woke up in daylight. They said I collapsed from exhaustion. They said no one else was there. They said table 6 had been empty. But every night now, when the lights flicker, I feel warm, and something beneath my skin shifts. So listen to me. If you ever work the night shift, if a body won't cool, if the logs change themselves, leave. Because some places don't store the dead. They recycle them.